Welcome, everybody, and thank you for attending our webinar titled How to Harness AI for Outdoor Brands. At first, I'm going to go over our agenda. I'm going to try and be as quick as possible, but I want you to know what we're going to talk about, and I promise this will be impactful. First, we're going to show some stats on usage of AI inside of a brand workforce. Then I'm going to talk about the four main ways that brands today are using AI right now. And then I'm going to show a few use cases where AI can drive incredible impact and ROI for your brand. But who am I? Why am I on this webinar? My name is Tim Glomb. I'm the co-founder of RavenEQ, which is an AI-based company creating products and solutions specific for the outdoor industry. Now, with that said, 10 years ago, I worked in the outdoor space. I was a head of digital at Pure Archery Group across 7 different brands. So I understand your problems with dealers and retailers and MAP and all the things that come with outdoor. Fast forward, I had an agency in between. I worked with brands like Leupold and Bowtech and Heartland Bowhunter and Randy Newberg and dozens of others. But today, I also sit for the last few years as head of AI at a company called Wunderkind. It's a global software platform that drives $5 billion in revenue per year for the likes of Harley Davidson, Wolverine Worldwide, a $3 billion footwear company that most of you have probably had on your feet. We do this through email, SMS, advertising, social, et cetera. And it's all agentic AI decisioning of personalization, who gets which message in which channel at which time with the right offer. And that's what we do, $5 billion a year. So I have a unique perspective on AI because I've been using it for quite a few years. I oversee a 700-person global software company and the adoption of AI in that, and I've been in the outdoor industry. So hopefully I have the chops and some of this will resonate, and I promise to put it in perspective of outdoor brands. So let's jump in. First, a few stats for you. Did you know that there are 700 million weekly users on ChatGPT right now? That means it's consumers, it's people working inside of companies, et cetera. It's a lot of people. 86% of consumers agree that AI can absolutely benefit their experiences with the brands they love. And that's via a survey run by Verint earlier this year. 83% of companies globally are using AI or exploring AI, and that's from AI statistics. And then this one's really impactful. 74% of brands that are using AI say generative AI investments have met or exceeded their expectations. 74%. And that's via the global intelligence firm Accenture. So AI is absolutely providing ROI in a number of different ways, which I'll explain later. But let's jump into what are the 4 stages of AI adoption today inside any given brand's workforce. Well, number 1, ChatGPT. It's been around for a little bit now, well over a year and a half widely. People are using it to write. They're using it to search for things. They're using it to generate ideas and really just generate a lot of copy. And that's a great start. But it's generic info. It's coming from the web, which means it can't always be verified. It's not always accurate. And you have fleetingly short context windows when you use ChatGPT, especially the free version. I'm not going to get into what a context window means here, but you're not getting a consistent experience over time or over the year. So second, let's get into custom GPTs. And I'll use ChatGPT as an experience, but you can create these across a number of the different AI models out there. They're used to write on a topic, and it's better than just the free GPT, but you can now bring limited amounts of your own knowledge. You can attach different things like your G drive so that it actually knows a little bit more about you. And this is also a better start. But you need many GPTs. A GPT think of it as like an intern or an employee. It's trained to do one or a few narrow things very well. So now you're managing many GPTs for many different use cases. There's no real public use case for a custom GPT. You're using it internally. You're not really getting any metrics. You have limited data sources. You need developers to actually make them intelligent and tie into your really interesting repositories of knowledge inside your brand. So it's a step in the right direction, but not enough. Now you've got in-app AI tools. And what I mean by that is these are the AI tools that your existing software vendors are bringing into their own tool, right? Or their web app. So a good example of that is if you use Gmail, you can now activate Gemini and summarize emails and maybe, write a reply, let the AI write a reply. You've probably got customer service tools that you're using, and they may be introducing AI chatbots. But in the reality, they're clunky, they're limited knowledge bases, they're not really solving for larger problems. And then you've got other endpoint solutions, but they're caged, right? They're inside each piece of software that you're using across your business. HR might have software that they use and a little AI bot in there for some reason. Finance, the same. But you don't have an umbrella, which brings us to point 4, which sophisticated enterprise organizations are using enterprise-grade AI applications. One of which that I love, I'm a huge fan of it, I'm a buyer of it, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. It's called Glean. So now that's an umbrella AI tool that sees everything across your company. You can attach your finance, your HR, your operations, your ERP, your CRM, everything can be in one AI tool, but it's very expensive. It's incredibly powerful, but probably not a realistic starting point for a lot of outdoor brands looking to start with AI. Start small, climb that ladder. Okay. So now I want to talk for 30 seconds around why RAG is the key. What RAG is, if you haven't heard of it, it's retrieval augmented generation. What this means is it's basically an AI engine that's focused only on your own approved vetted materials first and foremost. Think about those binocular views. It's only laser focused and pulling answers and intelligence from an accurate and approved curated knowledge base. This could take decades of your marketing, your product materials, all of your service materials, how you service, all your parts, all your components, all your accessories. You can even apply it to all of your finances. How have you been running your business for years? What are the trends? What are the cycles? HR, this is all operational knowledge that could be put into a RAG model. And RAG allows you really to curate select materials to inform the AI tool so that it's accurate for what you're building it to do. And you could have multiple tools, but again, you're using your own knowledge as well as other knowledge that you've approved, not open World Wide Web and hoping that it's correct. RAG is very safe. It's very secure. It's almost rarely used to train AI models of the ubiquitous tools out there. So RAG is an incredibly impactful way to go. And that's all we deal in when we talk about AI at RavenEQ. So here's a few ideas on how to think about AI to solve common problems inside the outdoor world. And these are just a few ideas around customer experiences. I'm not going to go into operational AI in this webinar. I'm happy to do a webinar on that. I'm just going to focus on things that touch consumers and bring the most impact and the fastest ROI for you. So first, let's talk about winning at retail. If you sell your products in any store, a dealer, a mom and pop, a big box, any retailer, you don't control the experience at the counter. So when somebody comes in, you hope that the counter people are presenting your products correctly, that if the customer comes up and goes, hey, I got product A and product B, which one's better for me? You hope that you win. Well, think about your product hanging on those tags, right? They're on shelves, they're on racks, a shirt, an archery bow, a gun, whatever it is. You've got hang tags. You've got stickers that could have QR codes that could be put directly on your product box, or even like firearms, things that are behind a counter. You can use a pointed display, a simple QR code that says, hey, get all your answers right now. And what this is basically a virtual sales assistant. And we're going to use the word chatbot. These are chatbots that are trained 100% on your own materials, your approved product slang, your approved solution selling points, whatever it is. So now, when a consumer goes in and sees this hang tag on the product and wants to ask questions about it, they don't have to make sure that the person behind the counter is an expert. And a lot of consumers don't want to talk to a human, but they will go to Google, etc. So these chatbots will answer the questions for consumers in real time with dead accurate info because it's been curated by you, and they're using natural language and text, or they can even use their voice on their phone, literally have a conversation with an AI bot that sounds unbelievably low latency and accurate. But you can also inform your retail partners with this real-time product knowledge, with your sales plays, your competitive advantage, etc. So think of a chatbot that only dealers and mom and pop, retailers have in their pockets when it comes to your products. We used to, at Bowtech Archery, we used to train dealers at the big box retailers on our products, Diamond Archery, Excalibur crossbows, etc. We don't know who actually took the training. We don't know if they absorbed all that. You usually only absorb about 15% of a training anyway. So how could you put something on a phone in the hands of that retailer so that they can talk about your product directly? Also, with our tools, and these types of tools we're talking about, you're getting metrics back at the home office. So if you gave it to 5,000 retailers and 20,000 or 30,000 counter people had access to it, an untold amount of consumers, you're going to understand the metrics, the usage, the trends of the questions that they're asking, all kinds of insights to let you know what do people actually care about. And what are the results when you actually deploy something like this in a store? Well, you're going to get higher engagement guaranteed. You have a competitive tool to help you win over your competitors, especially in brick and mortar. You've got something that dealers think is actually very cool because now they become experts on your product, keep them on your talk track, and then you have all these metrics to show what people actually care about. It's a great way to get started. It's called a Raven hang tag from our product line, and you can find that on our website. But let's move to a second use case, customer service. A lot of people we've talked to, including our customers, are always going, Tim, we have bottlenecks in customer service for one reason or another. Well, let's take the same idea, an AI-based chatbot that's trained on all your materials. You already have these materials. You have product manuals, you have all kinds of materials that you're using for your customer service agents. Let's gather that knowledge, things that can be publicly shared, and put it in a 24/7, always-on, accurate chatbot on your website. So now you're driving people, again, from your manuals, from your product boxes. You can put QR codes right there. Have an issue? Don't go back to the retailer. Don't call us. Scan this chatbot and let's go there. Again, they're trained on your materials, all of your product knowledge. Easily embeddable, 24/7, always on. Natural language, they can even use voice. We can even give you a phone number that they call into and completely talk to an AI bot to get their solution first. So it's going to stop all those unnecessary calls that are coming into your customer service department. It's going to stop all those mindless emails that actually could be solved if they just read their product manual. And our AI chatbots can even suggest when and where that person needs to go or call if the chatbot can't answer the solution, if it truly needs to be a ticket issued or an RA issued, things like that. So the other thing is these chatbots can even be used by your own staff. We know that customer service tends to have high employee turnover when you look at the rest of the business. Sometimes you're hiring inexperienced, low-cost staff. They have to be trained up. They're constantly looking for information. They're even bothering other experienced employees to get that information. So now you got two people chasing the tail where one person could just get a quick answer and back to the customer and make the customer happy. So the AI chatbots, they can be used to reply to emails. So if emails come in, every morning, one person, a low, inexperienced, low-cost, member of your team can go answer those with the chatbot, copy and paste, and just get those emails back out. We can even tie it to your email platform so they don't have to copy and paste from our tool into the response tool. And with a little bit of custom dev, it could be tied to your customer service platform. So if you do need access and want to give clients access to tickets, to their order, to their shipping, to their RA information, it's absolutely possible with AI. So again, huge wins by reducing labor, giving accurate answers 24/7 to your customers. It's always available, and natural language of voice makes it feel very helpful and very natural. Okay, let's move on to a third idea. Product Finder on your website. Now look, every outdoor brand has a website. It's a bunch of product pages, and they do a great job. You have great imagery, you've got videos, you've got product specs, you've got all that. But most customers will browse, but they also want to answer, they want answers to questions. Why is this the best for me? Can it do X, Y, Z? You've talked at me with your product page, a billboard, that's great. But chatting with natural language can go beyond just them reading product pages and deducing that this may or may not be the right thing for them. A web page is a one-way delivery mechanism. Like I said, it's a digital billboard. It's the tool we use today because it's the tool we've had for decades. It's low cost, it's easy, and people expect it. But that's changing. Remember, 700 million weekly users on ChatGPT. And let's also think about Google. Google is the most used website on the planet, and it's primarily answering questions. There's a reason why it's so valuable there. But let's think about the consumer experience in brick and mortar. It's usually conversation with an expert behind the counter, right? And some people love that. That's why they'll go into brick and mortar. We can bring that same conversation. We can understand and ask the goals and questions of the consumer right on your website. And then we can propose the best solutions so they don't have to browse 50 different tent ideas or 50 different sleeping bag ideas. We can literally use conversational, through AI to get them to the right product page. Okay. You can also bring that same experience of that customer, interacting with somebody at a dealership, right into your website 24/7. So it's going to boost the psychological connection that your brand has. You're actually going to evolve the connection with your consumer through a website. And if you do it quickly, you're going to be ahead of your competitors who are still using static one-way web pages. Let's go to a fourth idea here. Content creation, right? Doesn't sound that important, but a lot of content creation happened. We talked about GPTs and ChatGPT specifically creating emails or web copy or coming up with ideas. But when you use that RAG model, that model that's looking at your own information, and you have your own internal tools that are completely trained on your accurate materials, you can create all sorts of content incredibly quickly, accurately, and on brand. So the simple low-hanging fruit is social media posts for new products, right? Just put in your product materials, take your old messaging, your old tone and voice, all your old stuff, and you'll create all the social media posts for an entire campaign for months in minutes using a RAG model AI. You can create one-pagers, your product sheets, all of these things based on just raw materials coming from the product team. You can create all your marketing materials from web pages to press releases to everything. But again, it's like that supercharged employee that knows everything about your brand and creates the format that you need when you need it. So it'll create scripts and accurate product information and the way suggestion for how your influencers and your TV partners and everybody should be talking about your products and how to position them. And you can even make those internal, non-public, we call them Ravens, AI bots, available to all your partners, your dealers, your influencers. Hey, want to know how to talk about this new rifle or this new gun or this new tent or this new bike? It's all right there for them. It's accurate. It's always on. Also, your dealer support. Even if you just had AI for dealers and your retail partners, you're going to create those print and web assets. We know you're still going to do those and send them to them. But using AI and giving those dealers and everyone downstream access, fast tracks, all the time, it takes to create this. It'll allow you to do far more with less people, and it'll even allow you to create efficiencies so you'll be able to do things you've never done before because AI is going to do it in minutes rather than hours. So 5, this is the last one I'm going to talk about today, and I could talk about these for days, but measure and report on your work. And I'll talk in the context of marketing here. I'm a marketer myself, but it really works across all departments. First off, everyone has to measure and report on your department's work, right? In the case of marketing, that's aggregating things like your website metrics. Understand, is the audience interacting with your brand? Are they coming to this site? Did they see the new product page? You have to gather social media metrics, right? All these influencers, and you probably have a tool that puts that together, or you have somebody gathering it. You have to look at how many things did you print? What budget did you do? How many things did you send to dealers and retailers? How many trainings? How many people attended those trainings? How much should we spend this quarter on training materials versus last? How many people did we touch at our trade shows? What questions were asked? What answers were given? How much interaction? Was our trade shows really worth the investment? All of these things you independently aggregate. But imagine if you could look at this through the lens of both marketing and sales and customer service and warranty and HR and finance. So basically anything that's measurable and that anything that you have to report on can be plugged into a single AI tool so that all of these different touch points, all these different metrics can be measured and reported on together. So I'm going to stop right there because I promised I wanted to keep this short. The RavenEQ website that you're watching this on, please browse it. It showcases all of our product line. We call them Ravens, and they solve all kinds of different use cases, some of which I just discussed, as well as many others. It's actually pretty easy to get started with AI to tackle some of these ideas. And once you get started, the opportunities kind of snowball. You have your aha moments and you think of other ways to activate it. You'll find more efficiencies and other ideas on how to tap the AI to let the machines do things that machines are capable of, which allows your humans to do the more human things that they need to do. So I don't care if you're looking to reduce headcount or just create efficiencies with your existing staff and just do more with less budget, or win at retail, unclog that customer service backlog. AI is the place that you should be looking to activate. We would love to talk to anyone about your current issues and just simply challenge us. Tell us to find a way and how AI would solve for them. And when we say this is pretty easy to execute, we signed several clients this summer in 2025. They had public-facing activations all launched within 2 weeks of signing a deal with us, and in a budget that they did not need to go and get executive approval or blow up their budget. This stuff is cost effective. It's fairly quickly to activate and get you some real ROI and real metrics back. But also 2026 is right around the corner, depending on your fiscal year. How are you thinking about budgeting AI into your annual operations budget? How is your company going to adopt it? How is your department going to adopt it? How are you going to become the expert? How are you going to be the smartest person in your organization? We're happy to do these free webinars. We're happy to create all kinds of resources. So give us a call. We'll show you some ideas, hopefully bring you and your brand to the forefront of what's possible with AI. But be sure to visit our site frequently. We'll be doing more webinars on all sorts of topics. Sign up for our newsletter at the bottom of our homepage. Never miss a free resource. We're creating content constantly. Again, we want you to be the smartest person out there. So again, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this helpful.